So if we could just take the last hour and condense that into the last 30 seconds. So for the cameras minister, if you will, you know, the essence of the key changes that you're trying to make, you know, with this new model, what are the objectives here?
So the objectives, and as we've explained, the objectives are to provide increased certainty, more efficiency on the land base, to integrate the permitting and authorization processes across resource ministries in order to assist in creating additional economic development, jobs, and certainly on the land base in the regions.
Okay, so around that though, I mean, we've heard a lot of discussion over the last hour around how there seems to be still a lot of question marks over the process around that. I know you've already answered this, but again, for the cameras, do you actually have a timeline around when, you know, the objectives that you just set out are actually going to be met? Yeah,
the objectives that we've set out, as I've indicated, that this is there is work in progress here. It's building on a lot of work that has been done. My objective as the new minister for this Ministry of Natural Resource Operations is to achieve the goals of getting to one project, one process, and to have those efficiencies and work done as quickly as I can.
But to be clear, you don't have a final deadline yet for when this will all be in place.
To be clear, as my direction is to do it as quickly as I can, because we recognize the importance of this. We recognize the importance for growth and economic development in the province, and I will be working with my colleagues in the resource ministers to achieve it as quickly as possible.
But no dates circled on the calendar.
As quickly as possible.
Minister, one of the comments that's come out over the past week is that as much as they are an economic hindrance and an annoyance, that some of the duplication in the process dealing with different ministries, etc., essentially created a bit of a safeguard, whether it's for environmental standards or other things. So there's a fear that will be lost. How do you respond to that?
I want to make it clear that this process is about improving timelines and improving service for the resource sectors across all the ministries. This is not at all about compromising environmental standards at all. Those standards will continue to remain, those policies and standards remain within the resource ministries. We'll continue to work with the Ministry of Environment. They continue to have the Environmental Assessment Office for the projects that need to go through that process. So this is not at all about compromising standards at all. This is about improving timelines and efficiencies within government service.
That's not the purpose, but there are people out there who fear that that's what's going to happen anyway. Do you have anything to say to reassure?
What I said is it's my commitment to make sure that those environmental standards and values are critical to this process. Those standards will continue to be set by resource ministries. Our job in the natural resource operations is to administer those policy directions and policy decisions in the most efficient way possible.
Hey, last question. Is this a 6-member power team in cabinet? Like every time a resource issue comes up, 6 ministries are going to vote yes, and you guys have like a little team?
This is a process that brings the resource ministers together, working collaboratively, and as we always have. I think that's the important point is that this, you know, from that perspective, there is not a lot of change because resource ministers always work together on across ministries. What the natural resource operations does is provides that level below in terms of service delivery on the ground.